Hello everyone. Today, this is gonna be a more experimental video of sorts. Recently, I decided that I wanted to rig up my dishwasher with all kinds of different microphones and record an entire session of my dishwasher doing its job. And what I did, what I expected it to turn out, and what it actually turned out to be, which microphones I used, which microphones I wished I could have used, and how it actually sounds, and a kind of A, B, C, D comparison, all of this in this video. So if you are kind of nerdy about recording all kinds of tech and various sound sources out in the wild or at home, stay tuned to this video. Here we are inside of Reaper. Today we don't have any screen reader audible because screen reader isn't necessary here. We are just going to listen to the actual sounds, and I'm going to talk you through all the different things I did and I had to do with this recording, and screen reader is actually not of importance here. Let's start with the gear I used and with the initial idea. So I decided that my new dishwasher, which is a Siemens one, actually makes kind of cool noises, particularly when sitting in front of it. And I thought it would maybe even be way cooler if you actually recorded them from real close, closer than I usually am when I'm just filling it up and turning it on. So I basically thought about which mics I want to use and where to put them on the device to capture all the kind of various sounds it makes. And I came up with a four-part idea that requires 6 microphones, which is also the maximum of microphones I can use because the recorder that I often use is a Zoom F6, and that's the device that I also used for this recording. The Zoom F6 only got 6 inputs, so I was only able to use 6 microphones at the same time. But fortunately, my idea involved exactly 6 microphones, so I was good to go. First of all, I used a pair of basic Usho, I think that's what you call them, microphones from Loam Audio, which is my favorite brand at the moment for small field recording-ish microphones. The basic Usho are their, let's say, middle-range series. They start from the Micro series, which is the really, really tiny microphones. They go over to the basic microphones, which are the kind of all-round microphones that are built for all-purpose scenarios, and go up to the Pro series, which is meant for ultrasonic recordings and things like that. I currently don't have a Pro series microphones. They are still on the way and still have to be delivered to me, but I do have the basic microphone, so I used a pair of those and taped them to the front of the dishwasher. I've got a half integrated model, which means that by default it comes without a front plate, and you have to mount the front plate yourself so that it fits into the design of your kitchen or wherever you want to set it up. That's what I have. So I basically taped the microphones to the front plate on the dishwasher in the upper half of the device. Then a pair of micro Uzi. But where do I put them? I put them right underneath the dishwasher. But because the dishwasher itself is so high, I wasn't actually able to get below the device itself. But there's a tiny, let's say, gap in front of the device, just below or behind the front plate. There's a tiny, an opening where you can basically put your hand into and mount the microphones. And that is where I put them in. And obviously, both of the stereo pairs are going to spread out to the left and the right so that you get a nice stereo image. So now that I've got the basic Ucho in place, which are basically my outer microphones, my ambience mics, if you so wish, because they capture quite a bit of room ambience as well, which is really nice if you want to capture the pumps doing their job and putting the water out of the dishwasher, which we get to listen to in a second. And the others are my close mics because they are taped directly to the dishwasher itself, and they really capture a nice isolated image of the dishwasher doing its job still from the outside, because I don't have the equipment to record from the actual inside, which have been really interesting, but we get to this later. The third microphone is a mono microphone, and this is a geophone, also from the same company, Lom or Lum Audio. This is a thing that you can connect to the dishwasher via a suction cup kind of thing, which you can just put on to the front of the thing, and it will capture all the vibration kind of sounds. It's a bit different to a contact mic, as it really just captures the intense vibrations. It's kind of similar to the device that you use for detecting earthquakes. So it really captures intense vibrations and makes it really audible and clear and loud, but it only captures information up to about 1000 hertz. So we're gonna listen to that later. It's really gonna make up the low end of the recording. And the sixth mic, and the only mic that is not from Home Audio, and the one that by accident also gave me the most trouble, is an AKG C411PP, which is a condenser contact microphone. So it's not one of the typical piezo contact mics that you know from all over the place that you get for about €5 out of the wild. It usually does a really good job, especially when connected to instruments. And I thought, why not try it on the dishwasher as well? And we will get to why this wasn't the best idea, but I didn't lose anything from it anyway in a second. This one doesn't need to be taped. This one requires a special adhesive tape that kind of transfers the vibrations and the sound from the device to the mic, because it doesn't work by capturing sound coming in through the air, but it captures the sound coming in through the device itself via vibrations as well, kind of similar to the geophone. I also mounted this below, right between the two micro USB devices that are also responsible for capturing the close ambience. And that is basically the entire setup. At the very front, we've got the two basic Ucho spread out to the left and right. Right in the middle, there's the geophone connected to it, and kind of underneath this setup, still kind of in front, but also below the dishwasher, I've got my micro USB spread out to the left and right, and in between those, you've got the contact mic, the AKG, and this is gonna be my setup. And then I basically started this and I left it running throughout the entire night, because I did the recording at the night. I basically turned it on, I went to bed, and at the next morning, I unplugged everything, got my gear together, and checked out the recording. And what should I say? It was kind of what I expected, also kind of great. And we're gonna go to some really interesting sweet spots in the recording, and I'm gonna show you a ABCD comparison. So I'm gonna turn off certain mics so that you hear, and solo them so that you hear what is actually going on and which mic does what, which might be an interesting thing if you're looking into capturing a certain sound source yourself. Obviously, this is a static one, so you can really plan on what you want to record and how you want to record it. It's really hard if you want to capture a moving sound source, an animal or whatever, obviously. But, you know, this is something that might be interesting to you as well. So here is the actual recording. We will start at the very beginning, because I think the intro sequence, where I don't know what it actually does. Some flushing, some building up, I don't know. It's a really interesting sequence, and I really like that. And I'm going to play it to you and speak over it in certain places and comment on it. And we will discuss what actually happened here. So this is turning on, and let's already start here. This is what we actually, or what I actually found the most underwhelming thing in this recording, is the AKG does some intense crackling. Let's turn it off for a second and just play again, and you will immediately hear what's missing and also what's better in this recording. That is without, and this is with. So this crackling is definitely something that comes from the AKG, and I don't know why exactly. It's maybe because of my cabling. The AKG cable definitely wasn't exposed to its own. It ran through several other cables of the other mics. Maybe that is what causing interferences here. I also already put a decrackling plugin, Isotope RX11, onto it, and it can't get rid of all of it. It already did a good job, but the crackling that you can hear is what's remains after RX11 did its job, and it still sounds crackly, and there isn't much that I can do about it. So it is what it is. We have to live with it, and I would just mute it from time to time, because I think the recording without it is already kind of nice. So here's the thing. Let's put it without for the time being, and I will show you what the mic actually adds to the recording afterwards, because it does quite a nice job. It just crackles too much to my taste most of the time. Let's go. So this is the ambience mic. You can kind of hear it pumping up away the water. We get a better image of that later. We can definitely do an A/B comparison, the ambience mics versus the internal ones. Now this is, I don't know, pumping thing or whatever. So obviously, let's use this. I just soloed the micro Uzis, so the close mics. Unsoloed. Let's solo the basic, the outers. See, this is just ambience. And this is with the close mics. This is basic. Yeah, this is the micro Uzis isolated. And they themselves already do a great job. Now this is an interesting one. This is a particularly nice sound, isn't it? If you like water dripping down your head. I actually like this kind of thing. Really nicely captured. Now here's quite a bit of silence before it actually starts up in a second. Let's sort of the geophone on solo for that, because it's interesting. It's quiet, right? But it's there. And solo again. And that is the dishwasher. Now, geophone. You can hear the rumble, the low end. That was a bump. I don't know where this is coming from. Probably the water flow inside the dishwasher actually changed direction and pushed something inside the dishwasher to the front door, pushed it against the front door, which made this kind of thumb sound there. Now here's an interesting A/B comparison. Let's turn on the micro Uzi on solo, which is the internal, the close mics, right? So we can definitely hear the water flowing, which is an interesting experience. Kind of compares to a car wash, a car wash experience inside the car. And in the kind of faint distance, you can hear the mechanics inside of the dishwasher, right? And now let's unsolo it again and solo the basic Ucho, the external mics. You've got less of the water experience, but you've got more of the mechanical experience, right? And to the right, you can kind of hear the water splashing against the inner side of the dishwasher, which is also kind of nice. We had one of those moments where, here we go, where the water changed direction again. So the dishwasher is one of the modern ones, which kind of seems, I don't know, I can't look inside, but seems to change direction of the water flow to make the dishes more clean. Okay, unsoloed again. And now let's see what I mean. Let's solo the AKGs here. Let's unmute first. Yeah, those interruptions happen because of the effects on the signal. Let's solo it. And you can also hear most cleanly on the AKG that the dishwasher itself makes a really high annoying noise, electronic noise. That is not audible if you're just standing next to it, but if you're right in front of it and really listening for it, you can also hear it from the outside. And it's also the other mics, but the AKG is definitely picking it up the best here. So it gives quite a nice, detailed signal. You can definitely hear the water flowing down the dishwasher. But also the crackling is a problem. So it kind of blends nice into the mix of all mics. If I just had a nice way to clean up the crackling. Anyway, let's move on. I've got a few certain points which are really interesting in this recording as well. Next one is gonna be roughly about 20 minutes in. Although I think it doesn't matter, but this is a nice recording of the water flow changing direction again, which is, I think, really cleanly picked up. So let's just go in and listen to this again. We were able to hear, like, it was doing its thing. You could clearly hear the big pot that I put inside of it, which I had to clean this day, put into the dishwasher. And now it changed direction. Now you can't hear it. It doesn't resonate the way it did before. I kind of like the blend of the water and the mechanical noise. It kind of feels good to me. If you are not having problems with water flowing around you all the time. So here's another one. And I don't particularly know what it does anymore, but it's 28 minutes in. Let's see. Ah, yeah. I don't know what it is. A pump, the heater, something. But it does this regularly every 5 or 10 minutes or so. The low humming. Let's switch over to Geophone and Solo and see what this does, because I imagine it would be definitely audible on this one. Yeah, there we go. If that isn't audible, I don't know what is. Now I also had to turn down the Geophone by quite a bit because otherwise it would have blasted our ears off. So yeah, that is a thing. Let's continue with this one. That's the last one. And this is roughly 1.5 hours in. And this is the moment that I was talking about earlier, where we can definitely hear the pumping of the water out of the dishwasher in action. And we can do an A-B comparison. Let's go in here. So it's just finishing up. Also nice noise incoming. Water dripping down around your head. That's really nice noise. Now, pumps coming in a second. Also, you might have noticed the noise floor is quite high. That also is the AKG. If we just solo that, mute it. This is it without it. Nice. Let's do this again with the outer mics only. This is the situation before. Outer mics only. As you can hear, it's not really detailed, right? Also, the water dripping down experience isn't really good. Can almost not hear it if I just solo the other one as well. There's definitely more going on. Okay, let's hear the pumping. There we go. The really interesting thing was the mics are really not too far off from the dishwasher. They are themselves taped to the dishwasher. They are really close to the dishwasher as well, but still, they sound further away than the actual micros, which are mounted directly below the dishwasher, which is really interesting. I would have expected otherwise. But obviously, those are capturing more of the detail of the surrounding room. Whereas it's needless to say, both the mics, Basic Usho and the microsi, are both omnidirectional mics. So that probably adds into it. The basic Usho definitely are free and thus capture the entire room, whereas the microsi are mounted in a gap between the front plate and the actual dishwasher itself. So they're basically isolated from the surrounding environment and thus are working better in this case. A-B comparison, right? So let's unsolo those and solo the micro ones, the close mics mounted directly below the dishwasher. This is the nice water experience, right? The car wash experience. And I wished I had a hydrophone to put into the device, but then obviously it's hard to put a cable outside without the dishwasher leaking water while washing. So this is definitely no go. But I wish I had a hydrophone. So the water going away, getting pumped away is also on this recording, but it's less present as it's really, really far away. Also, I like the mechanical click at the beginning. It's really audible on this recording. That one. Really like that one. So those mics are doing a particularly good job when capturing the subtle mechanical noises of the dishwasher itself. And that's it, basically. That's what it does for about 2 hours, a bit more than that. And after that, it's done. And it's basically kind of a constant noise, but especially those phases where it switches between different steps in the actual process of cleaning my dishes. These are particularly interesting, especially the startup sequence. And I think this setup captured it pretty well. Could I have had other equipment? What would I have done differently? As I said, I wish I had some hydrophones to put inside, but it's not just the microphones that I'm lacking right now, but I also couldn't connect them to a recorder, right? Because I can't put cables outside of the dishwasher because otherwise I would leak water. I also wish, because of the high sound that we can already hear on usual microphones, I wish I had some electronical pickup things to pick up electromagnetic noise because I think this would have been really interesting as well. But maybe I will do this later on with the second run of my dishwasher as soon as I have a pair of microphones that does the job. That's basically it because it turned out better than I expected and better than I anticipated. So I really enjoyed doing that, setting that up. It was kind of a finicky task to set up the mics and tape the really, really tiny microzy ones to the bottom of the dishwasher, but it was really worth it. And yeah, I also learned that certain tape isn't strong enough to actually hold the basic Ujo in place because they are tiny, like not tiny, but small. They're pencil shaped microphones. But they are definitely heavier than the micro C, for example, which are just as tiny as the cable itself. Basically, they are connected to the end of the cables directly, whereas the basic Ucho are free. You can plug in whichever XLR cable you want. And the others are basically just the size of the cable, the typical headphone cable that you use with a mini jack. So these are really tiny, the micro C, and they can basically go anywhere. That's why I plugged them to or connected them to the bottom of the dishwasher because they fit that really well. But it turned out to be really well. Especially the geophone did a really good job as well. It really filled up the bottom end of the recording. The AKG, then again, I don't know. I have to figure out a way to actually get rid of the crackling that really annoys me. But apart from this, I really liked the experience. It was fun. And I'm already thinking about capturing my washing machine. But I'll let you know if something useful or interesting comes out of it. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching this nerdy video about capturing interesting sound sources. Maybe there will be more in the future. Let me know if you enjoyed it by liking the video and maybe even writing a comment. This is even more helpful than just liking the video. Also, if you want to get notified when something new drops, then subscribe to the channel and also tune into the next one. Thank you, everyone, and bye bye.